The shelling and bombing continue. Death, destruction, disregard for humanity, displacement of families, a shattered economy, causing chaos throughout the world's food supply chain, with many experts predicting the worst is still yet to come. One person living through this horror is American-born Ola Rondiak. Of Ukrainian descent, she's worrying every day about her husband Petro, who first fled to neighboring Romania after the Russians invaded.
It's completely surreal. I mean, we know that the war kind of began in 2014. We were living there, of course. We've been living there for the last 30 years. So it was scary then, but we never thought it would escalate to such huge proportions because, you know, I'm first generation born in America. My parents had to immigrate from Ukraine after World War II. And also the same tragic stories and crossing the border on foot. And now in February 24th of 2022, my husband ended up crossing the border by foot as well. So it's really unbelievable that this is happening again. Such a primitive, barbaric, and horrible war in our time right now. So Ukraine and Ukrainians are extremely grateful to the West for all their help, and you know the war just needs to end as soon as possible.
Now, Petro is back on the outskirts of Kiev at their family home, insisting to his family that he needed to return to help his community and country during these dark hours. I met Ola, an accomplished artist who presents the viewers with a rare contemporary art with a historical conscience at the 12th edition of Art Market Hamptons.
It's an honor and a great pleasure to be here representing Ukrainian spirit with my works because I am Ukrainian and my husband is currently in Kiev, Ukraine, and of course with the war going on, I feel it's very important to continue to share Ukraine's perseverance and determination of Ukrainian people.
The 56-year-old Cleveland, Ohio native's paintings stem from her family's experiences living in Ukraine during the historical events of World War II, Stalin's Iron Curtain, the Orange Revolution in 2004, and the Revolution of Dignity in 2014. These events shaped Ola Rondiak's worldview.
My artwork has always been inspired by Ukraine and my Ukrainian roots through the stories of my grandparents, my grandmother being sent to the Gulag and surviving the Gulag, and she was secretly embroidering icons while she was there and smuggled them out. And so the strength that I received from this grandmother that I never even met is unbelievable, and it's just a testament to Ukrainian spirit. And for me, I especially focus in on Ukrainian women's spirits, and so these collages that you see behind me are my newest work since the war began, and they have collaged in them articles and newspapers from the current war that's happening, along with my intuitive way of grasping the psychological feelings that Ukrainians are going through and how they always persevere, and how Ukrainian culture is very rich and always has been and will always remain.
Emotional experiences surface in her artworks as her own history intertwines with Ukrainian history and tradition. She documents her emotions and knowledge of what is happening now in her beloved second home.
Culture is so important and so relevant throughout the world, and especially at these times when there is a war, a culture is so important to connect people, for people to understand one another. It connects without words, it connects through intuitive ways, visually, and I've always believed that art can save the world, and that's one of the reasons, because when the human intellect isn't working properly, as in these cases of war, art connects us on such a human level, and to keep the Ukrainian culture alive through arts, through music, through painting, however it is, it's extremely important for people to continue, for young people to continue with their drive and their passions, because sometimes we don't know the value until years later of why it's important.
As an historian, Ola has documented war going back to World War II to the ages of today. But in all the years that she's documented war on her canvases, she has never expected something like this to be so close to home. In Kiev, where her husband remains today.
Everything that he's experiencing there, and all of our family members and all of our loved ones, I'm digesting it right now, and it will eventually surface in my work in a whole nother way that I have yet to discover myself. But that's kind of how I operate, I think. When I feel things and I take them in as a sponge, and then intuitively it comes out in my work.
Ola brought her new work to Art Market Hamptons to highlight the horror and devastation caused from the Russian invasion of Ukraine. The East End's premier art fair is back, allowing artists like Ola to showcase their work, bringing forward world issues from an artist's perspective.
I look at each application focusing on what the artist is trying to accomplish, what the voice of the gallerist is and how it will fit within this big conversation that we're all having with each other. And someone like Ola, for example, it's such an important story to be telling, and for us to be able to be a platform for that conversation in any way at all is essential. And I want to make sure that artists feel like they have a free space to create here at the fair. This is a platform of inclusivity, and I think the Hamptons really responds to that as well. And we all get to come here and look at the voices and respond to the incredible images created by those who are living and breathing, the issues that impact our planet today. And that's an incredible opportunity, I think, in my opinion, for both the fair and for the attendee.
Ola lived in Kiev for more than 25 years, moving to Ukraine in 1995, after the breakup of the Soviet Union, to watch history unfold and deteriorate to Russian invasion of a democratic, peaceful nation. A prolific, self-taught artist with incredible personal drive and enthusiasm, Ola derives inspiration for her canvases and other creations from her personal experiences of living in Ukraine as a woman, wife, and mother, as her family's history intertwines with that of Ukrainian history and tradition. Her iconographic portraiture of women depicts their determination and indomitable spirit and mixes the style of pop art, folklore, and icons of the Byzantine period.
I truly hope to inspire especially young women to continue with their passions, and women of course are the brunt of a lot of this pain when there's war or subjugation or when they're not able to express themselves as freely. And so I think it's very important for them to hold on to that strength and perseverance, because we always have to find the freedom that's within ourselves despite our outside environmental circumstances, and that's what keeps us alive.
Ola is practical, knowing she cannot return to the Ukraine right now, but she hopes to reunite with Petro in person very soon.